So I got real lucky. I don't know, about somewhere around 10 years ago, maybe even 11. I met this man that became my like a dad, like an uncle to me, what you would call a street uncle. I'm not going to say his first name. I'm not going to say his last name, but I'll say his first name. His first name was Danny, and he was a OG white boy from Excelsior District. I met him on Market and 7th one morning at a coffee shop. This dude was like 5'7", but so yoked. He was almost 70 and bench pressing like 500, 550. Worked out every day when I met him. Basically, he was on federal parole. He had he had gotten out of prison maybe half a year before. Now, he had a life without parole sentence. He was never going home. He murdered. He had a murder beef, and he got out because of Project Innocence. Basically, what happened was, my Uncle Danny, he had a house right across the street from Crocker Park in the early 80s, and there was these two Filipino brothers from the mission that were known to rob drug dealers. Well, my uncle was a drug dealer. He sold hot back then, and the cops knew it. His house was hot, everything. But he had workers. He didn't even have to leave the house. Anyway, these dudes decided to rob him. They ran up in his house, tied him and his wife up, and tried to look for money and shit. Of course, they don't find nothing, buried. And my uncle got loose, got his hands untied, and he killed one of these dudes. Actually, he killed both of these dudes. He never told. I knew it hurt him because he never really told me the story. I had to find this story out from other people and put it all together. And then I did some reading about it, like my own investigation. It's such a gnarly story. You know, you get tied up in your house, you're getting robbed, but you're such a savage. You untie yourself and kill both these motherfuckers. Anyway, he got caught because he had one of the bodies in his trunk. He and the narcs that were watching his house smelt it or something. And this dude Danny, my street uncle, he wasn't no weirdo like that. He just didn't know what the fuck to do with this. He's not the kind of person to go hide a body. He's a killer. You try to fuck with him, but now what do? You know, he got this body in trouble. Anyway, he got busted for that, went to prison, was never going to get out. Basically what happened was at the trial, so he didn't talk. Him and his wife sealed their mouths during the trial, to the cops, everything. And he got out because the prosecutor said to the jury that him nor his wife would talk to the police or cooperate. And somehow that swayed the jury. I don't know, some shit like that. And I guess you can't say that kind of stuff to a jury. And plus, you got the right to remain silent anyway. But he got out. So we became real good friends. And little did I know. And he saw what I was doing, you know. And he came, and we started talking one day, and he had the connection, and me and him went into business. And that's the most bread I've ever made. And him. This is a long, sad fucking story. Actually. So we're balling. He stays in his little apartment. on one of them streets in the Tenderloin, and I come and see him every few days, that type of thing. But over the years, we got real close. I mean, you know, I don't know, you know, we just came close, real good friends. You know, I'd do anything for him, he'd do anything for me, and actually, I'll talk about this later. I had an issue with the skinheads for a long time, but because of him, that shit ended. Because I was with him, and it got ended because of him. You know, I stopped fighting with the skinheads. They hated me, I hated them. It was mutual. I still hate them. But, you know, the skinheads at one point were a small factor downtown. And they weren't even local dudes. They were all prison skins, on parole, stuck downtown, doing junk. So it's not like they were, you know, leading that skinhead life that they preach, you know what I mean? Being clean and all this shit. These dudes were just scumbags, period. Anyway, that will be another story. But, so yeah, man, me and Danny did great. And it's, even though he was on federal parole, he still kept all his money in paper bags. Didn't go to the bank or nothing. And so, and he'd have these agents come to his house every once in a while, and it was just the luck of the draw. They never searched his drawers. I mean, they didn't. He put on a good show. I was there once when a parole agent came over, and this isn't regular parole. This is like high power federal parole. So they come like 3 deep, armed, you know. Usually they flip the house upside down, but, you know, now this dude, Danny, my uncle, all that time in prison, he never got no racist. He wasn't a racist. He's just a regular white dude. Tough wood, but he not a racist. He had no racist tattoos. He just had one prison tattoo, and it was that of some cholo chick. But he was an honorable dude, man. What else could I say about Danny? You know, he had a kid when he had went to prison, and with his wife. Well, they took the kid from him, and I know that hurts him. But his kid ended up getting raised by Mormons in another state, and all was well. So we're doing our thing, and both him and I are saving money. And I had never really stacked cash like this. You know, I was able to like buy big things for the first time, you know, anyway, man, I was doing good, and it was awesome. And he was doing even better, also, you know, obviously. But the story gets fucked up. So, you know, 10 years with this guy, seeing him every other day, and it began like this. So, you know, he worked out, and I would boost him creatine. You know, the pre-workout shit. Well, for about 3 years, and I didn't realize this till it was too late. He was drinking that shit. He has slowly stopped being able to go to the gym, slowly started having health problems. And I come over his house one day, and I'm like, why am I still getting this creatine for you if you're not working out? He's like, man. And I realized he's drinking it like water. He's fucking drinking creatine that workout like water. And he's not working out anymore because the shit fucked his kidneys and liver up so bad. So now our business goes all fucked up. He won't introduce me to the connection because he don't trust nobody, not even me, after 10 fucking years. And he won't, and so he can't meet dude on time. I can't get what I need. So everything starts falling apart because his health falls apart because he's drinking this fucking creatine I used to get him like water. And basically he had about almost $1 million in cash in his room in paper bags, like Safeway bags, in this shitty drawer, the only piece of furniture in his fucking room. And I always told him, let me keep that money at my safe spot. No, it's cool. It was a lot of fucking money. You know, I spent a lot of my money, whereas he saved every fucking dollar because he never left his house. Almost a fucking $1 million. It was like $700,000 in cash, and just all banded up in his room, and it got stolen. So one day, ambulance comes, picks him up. He's so fucking out of it, he didn't get to deadbolt his door. And the Vietnamese kid who we thought was cool, who we'd known for all these years, and, you know, who my uncle had even lent money to, this motherfucker broke in my uncle's room, took all that money, almost $1 million fucking dollars, and he left. He probably left the country, I'm guessing, because they all know my uncle was a murderer. So, you know, they were afraid of him. God, if I doubt I'll ever see this kid. I'll never forget what he looks like. So basically, when my uncle got out the hospital and realized that the money was gone, he went out of it instantly. Like he went crazy, but he physically wasn't able to go physically crazy, but his mind went crazy. I couldn't talk to him. So then that whole next year, after his money, realized his money got took after going to the hospital for 3 nights. He went to the fucking Laguna Honda for 2 years, and I didn't know what happened. I heard he died. And it was just last year that someone said, hey, Bruno, Danny's alive. I'm like, what? And he's alive, and he got a spot in the L. And here he was the other day fucking trying to call me, hey man, let's do this again. Let's get this all going again, man. Let's get back to where we were. And now he's like a handicapped old man, and it just won't work like that anymore. Yeah, I'd love to go back in the business with him, but I'm done with this shit anyway. So, but he don't believe me. He's like, you fucking liar. People tell me you're still selling. I see you out there and all this. All lies, bro. I don't sell dope no more. I don't stand on the corners no more. Yeah, man, that was my street uncle who made almost $1 million with me and got the money stolen and went fucking crazy and ended up in the loony bin 2 years. I heard he was dead, and then now he's out and still kind of crazy. And actually, I feel kind of bad. I haven't seen him still, but he really just wants me to buy him dope, and I ain't even gonna do that. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be part of that, so I just can't see him. So anyway, that was my street uncle Bruno. He is a legend from Excelsior District. Fuck it, I'm just gonna say the name right now. Danny Bruno, Bruno. That's my street uncle. He is the OG of OGs. I doubt anyone listening to this is going to know him because he was around in the early 80s and the 70s. Other than that, he was in prison. But all the OGs in the TL know him. Every OG I ever bumped into, white, black, they knew of him. And some even knew him. I mean, I learned about really who he was through other people, which is a trip. Even though I say we were so close, he, I'd ask him deep questions. He never would answer them, The closest shit he ever said about prison to me was, I prayed every day that I'd get out. That's it. I wanted to hear stories. Nope. No stories. So, he was hurt. He had hurt, imagine thinking you're never going to get out and you get out. So I understand. And I got friends Anyway, so that's Daniel Bruno, man. He's still alive, and fuck, I'll call him tomorrow and see how he's doing. But after Ponytail, that was my man right there. And like Pony, we became like brothers. But since he was like an older white dude, he became like my uncle / dad. You know, that I didn't really have ever. And man, just being with him raised my status. And not like I gave a fuck, but I just walking with him and seeing how people would treat him, all races, because he was locked up with everybody downtown at one point, which is really impressive, because he got along with everybody, and to me that's awesome. I don't fuck with those racial politics. I make that clearly known. So I think that's dope that, white convict, but that was cool with everybody and never did get into that shit. Never got no racist tattoos. And I always liked walking with him to the gym and working out and then walking back. And it was awesome, man. And until his body fell apart, drinking that creatine every fucking day like a fool. Anyway, if anyone knows that name, you can go ahead and leave a message. And if you want to say hi to him, I could pass it on if you're like an older dude. I doubt you are. But who's listening to this? My guess is whoever's listening to these stories is like maybe in their 40s or something. I don't know. I don't care. But yeah, you see this here. We took a little tour of the L's. Geary Street. Anyway, man, that's a story of me. And Danny Bruno, my street uncle, and it's probably the last time I'll talk about him, but he'll come in a little later in my next story about my battles with the skinheads downtown. I'm trying to make these stories a little longer. This one's like 17 minutes. Sorry I'm vague a lot of times. I just don't want to really put myself out there like that so much. Anyway, peace, y'all.